Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Milwaukee Bucks are meeting to, quote, discuss his future. With resolution expected in a couple of weeks, and just so people know how the NBA calendar works, December 15th is two things. Number one, my mother's 66th birthday. Happy early birthday to my mom. It is also this year the 35th anniversary of Phil Simms and Jim Kelly both getting hurt in a Giants-Bills regular season game at the end of the season. Simms would miss the year. Jim Kelly would come back. Jeff Hostetler would come in and lead the Giants to a Super Bowl 25 victory over the Buffalo Bills on January 27th, 1991. Why do I remember that being the date? Because it was my mother's birthday, December 15th, 1990. Now, fast forward to December 15th in the year of our Lord, 2025. That's the day where basically every player in the NBA can get traded. Because with the way NBA contracts work, and candidly, I know this because I played a ton of NBA 2K this summer on franchise mode, where there are some players you can't trade until certain points in the season based on when you sign them in the offseason. And I'm not looking to do like the whole full like Bobby Marks contract breakdown here. Shout out to him. He is sensational. Just that December 15th is kind of like a flag plant day as far as trades go in the NBA. So I think that's why here on December 3rd, this news breaks and resolution is expected in the coming weeks. Because that would be likely the first day that a trade could actually happen. Shams and others on ESPN and other people are reporting this as well from other outlets, that this could drag on until the trade deadline, which is on February 5th this year. So about 2 months away is the NBA trade deadline. I think this timeline is utterly fascinating as it concerns Giannis. And it leads me to an inexorable conclusion. And we'll get to that conclusion in a second. But first, the road towards that conclusion. Because it was reported this summer that Giannis, had been contemplating a trade out of Milwaukee and wanted to go play for the Knicks, which as a Knicks fan would obviously excite me a great deal. But that Giannis had bought in to the vision laid out by Bucks general manager John Horst and head coach Doc Rivers, that this could be a championship roster around him. Because that's Giannis's goal, right? To win another NBA championship and preferably do it in Milwaukee. And to the Bucks' credit, with the limited resources they have, because the Dame Lillard thing, the trade was obviously a swing and a miss with how that's gone. They used the stretch provision, which was crazy in the long term for Milwaukee, but short term, it enables them to land Miles Turner and show Giannis that, hey, we're trying to do something around you here. Like, we're going to try and make this work and put a decent enough team around you that we can compete in a bad Eastern Conference. Now, I don't know that that's what they said, but I'm sure that's what they said. I don't know if, Doc Rivers goes to Giannis and says, hey, you, Miles Turner, Ryan Rollins, and AJ Green, not the Bengals receiver, the Bucks player, can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Finals. I don't know if they said that, but I'm sure in Giannis's mind, he's probably thinking, get to the NBA Finals? I'm the best player in the conference? Crazier things have happened. And then the season starts. And Giannis looks awesome. Because he is awesome. And he's great. And the Bucks are winning games. And it feels like, okay, maybe there's something here. And the Bucks can be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, which I didn't expect coming into the year. And then Giannis ends up missing a little bit of time. And this roster is on full display and how bad it is. Remember what I would say. And I don't have to be right about these things, but I was right about this. That the games that Giannis missed for Milwaukee, you have to bet against the Bucks. Because with him, they're a very good team. Because he's one of the 3 or 4 best players in the world. And without him, they're actually the worst team in the NBA. Or put them in the conversation with the Brooklyn Nets as being the worst team in the league without him. And I'm sure in his absence, as he's watching this hot garbage and watching them lose games, that he knows deep down, and he probably knew before that, but now it just becomes crystal clear to him. We're not winning a championship. There's just no way. And maybe you could win the Eastern Conference in a year where the East stinks. Maybe. But you get to the NBA Finals. I mean, could you imagine this Milwaukee Bucks team against Oklahoma City? It's going to win 74 games in the finals. The Thunder would win that best-of-7 series 1-0. They would cancel the finals after the first game. There would be no need to play the rest. No need to play the rest. Giannis reportedly said before the season, again, he has not come out and said this, but all the reports indicate, right, that Giannis was going to give it 25 games and then kind of make a decision as to what he wanted to do with his future. He didn't need it. They're 9-13, 22 games. And there's only one way this is ending. And we can be adults, and some of us can want and do like the weird fan thing. And I know fan is short for fanatic, but we do this thing where we want to ding guys for leaving like a city they've been in, a team they've been in to go elsewhere. Like, who cares? Like, this is, like, Giannis does not play to satisfy your weird feelings about what an athlete should do. That's not how this goes. Same thing for guys like Kevin Durant, right? KD can do whatever the hell he wants. He can go play for as many teams as he wants. We can criticize him for it, but it's his right to do that. Just like it's Giannis's right if Giannis wants to go play somewhere else. And that's where this is going. I see no way, and I've been wrong, most notably recently with the Micah Parsons situation in Dallas, where I declared the day that he was traded, there's no way the Cowboys will trade Micah Parsons, yada, yada, yada. An hour later, he's a Green Bay Packer. So I can be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong on this one. Giannis is going to be traded by the Milwaukee Bucks. And by all accounts, this is not going to be Milwaukee trading him to like the Brooklyn Nets for a war chest of draft picks. That's not what it's going to be. They are going to try and placate Giannis and do the right thing by Giannis, who, in fairness, has done the right thing by them since he entered the league, including carrying them to an NBA championship, coming back from 2-0 down to beat the Phoenix Suns in 6 in 2021. So they're going to try and do the right thing by Giannis. So, if we think Giannis is going to get traded, and we do, right? Like, in what universe is he going to be like, no, I want to stay here and play with, like, Ryan Rollins is a nice player. We're like Ryan Rollins and Kyle Kuzma and Kevin Porter Jr. In no universe does Giannis want to keep doing this. I would be shocked if that's what this is. It feels like this is step one towards his eventual ouster and leaving the Milwaukee Bucks. So if we think that's true, and we also think it's true that Giannis is going to be able to dictate, if not the team that he goes to, like the handful of teams that he'd accept a trade to, I think we can pretty easily whittle it down. He's going to go to a team that he thinks can win an NBA championship like this year or in the coming years. Like, that's what this is going to be. My sense is, and I don't know this, I have no inside information. My sense is, if it were me, I'd want to stay in the East. Stay as far away from the Oklahoma City Thunder as possible. You don't want to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and company until the NBA Finals. You stay in the East, you're the best player in the conference, on a better team, you can worry about the Thunder in June. And I see right now 4 teams that I think make the most sense. Now I'm doing this off the dome, like the news broke an hour ago. I'm not an NBA insider. It would not be shocking to me if another team possibly emerged. But these are the teams that, to me, make the most sense for Giannis. And the context here is, from a betting perspective, right? This is the type of trade that can swing who wins an NBA championship this year. Giannis does carry that level of cash. It's cachet or cash. I never know how to pronounce that word. I think it's cash. Giannis does carry that kind of cash. He's an unbelievable player, obviously. One of the best players in the league. One of the best players in the world. Like, there are players, like I'll throw James Harden out there, right? And I mean no disrespect to James Harden. If James Harden got traded, you'd say, okay, like that helps this team potentially, but it's probably not going to swing the outcome of who wins the NBA championship. Giannis Antetokounmpo could swing the outcome as to who wins the NBA championship. So this is going to be, when it happens, in my opinion, not if, something that will rock the foundation of the 2025-26 NBA season. As all the other teams in the league outside of Oklahoma City try and figure out a way to beat Oklahoma City. And we can actually start with the Thunder here, who definitely have the assets to try and pull off a trade for Giannis. Just, there's no reason to do it. They're already the best team in the league now. I don't think they need to disrupt anything. But I do think that's funny that the Thunder, who might win 74 games and set the wins record, could have potentially 3 lottery picks in the draft, including the LA Clippers, who just sent Chris Paul home unceremoniously in the middle of the night. We'll get to them coming up later in the show. So the Thunder are locked and loaded for Bear for years. So let's move past OKC. The number 1 team, my Knicks. And there's no homerism in me saying that, although I will admit, I would love to see it happen. I would be insufferable if the Knicks trade for Giannis. That's the team that Giannis wanted to go to in the offseason. Do we think that anything has changed since then? Giannis watched Jaylen Brown drop 40-plus on the Knicks last night in what was a bad Knicks loss and said, you know what? I don't want to go to New York anymore. Get real. I'm not saying the Knicks will be the destination for Giannis, but I do think that they have to be considered the favorite right now, based on the information that we already have, which is that he wanted to go play there. And if the Knicks have an opportunity to trade for Giannis and don't, and that gets reported, I might just freak out, man. I might just freak out. But that'll be a story for them. The other team in the East, and I don't know how many people are talking about this team. We actually talked about them, Femi and I did, over the summer as a potential Giannis destination when this news originally broke about potentially Giannis not going to be a member of the Milwaukee Bucks, or maybe he asked for a trade. That team is the Atlanta Hawks. And I just think Atlanta is very interesting. And just very quickly on Atlanta, for people that are not locked into the NBA the way I'm locked into the NBA. It's okay that you're not. It's December, and this is my job. I do all this work so you don't have to. And I really love it. So it works out great for everybody. Since Trae Young got hurt for Atlanta, we have figured something out about the Atlanta Hawks, which is the Hawks' best player is not Trae Young. The Hawks' best player is Jalen Johnson. And if you don't know this yet, you will in the months to come. Jalen Johnson is an absolute monster for the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks have a great coach, obviously, in Quinn Snyder. Added a ton of pieces this offseason, including Nickeil Alexander-Walker, and Kristaps Porzingis. And most importantly for Atlanta, when we talk about the New Orleans Pelicans on the show, and we're not going to talk about the Pelicans right now, even though Zion got hurt, but there is a tie-in here with the Pelicans. On draft day, when the Pelicans traded their unprotected 2026 first-round pick for the chance to select Derek Queen, even though Queen's really good, everybody collectively, including us, rolled our eyes at the New Orleans Pelicans because they're going to be bad next year, and they are bad, and 2026 is a loaded NBA draft, and they're not going to have their first-round pick, and it's unprotected. So if it's 10, it goes to Atlanta. If it's 1, it goes to Atlanta. Milwaukee has zero. I don't want to say zero because they do have some good players. But let's be real. They don't have one potential stud outside of Giannis. If Atlanta dangles a package that includes New Orleans' first-round pick, is that going to get Milwaukee excited on what's going to be a long-ass rebuild for them now, post-Giannis? And I don't blame them for going for it and trying to keep Giannis. I don't blame them for that. You do what you got to do to keep this guy, to keep the third or fourth best player in the world. You do what you got to do to keep him in the building. But now, If this is the reality, now it's what sets you up to win because it ain't happening soon. What sets you up to win in the long term? I think Atlanta's really interesting. I think the Cleveland Cavaliers are an interesting team who are scuffling right now. I did bet them the other night. They did cover against Indiana, but not the start to the season you want for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I would look at Cleveland. And the one team that I'll mention in the West, and again, if I'm Giannis, I'm not going to the West. You want to stay in the East where you're the best player in the conference. You go to the West, and that may not be the case, right? You stay in the East, you're the top dog. You're a number one. King of the hill. Top of the heap. I think he should stay in the East. But if there were a team in the West that you could argue Giannis going to could get them over the line to challenge the Thunder, that is a realistic destination, the San Antonio Spurs, to play alongside Wemby. Because listen, you ask like any man in the world this question, they're going to answer it the same way. The only thing better than one freak is two. I don't know when this is going to happen, when Giannis is going to get dealt. I feel pretty confident in saying it is going to happen. And when it does, and if, by the way, we start getting little inklings or tidbits, nuggets of information that could lead us towards something, there's going to be a time to make a bet. I don't think that time is now, but it'll be coming down the line here. Because I cannot picture a world where Giannis Antetokounmpo is a Milwaukee Buck on February 6th, the day after the NBA trade deadline.